Welcome back to another P2P talk. My guest today is the newly announced CEO at EstateGuru, Mihkel Stamm. In today's discussion, we'll be talking about the latest developments surrounding EstateGuru's portfolio performance, mainly covering the defaulted loans in Germany and Finland. By the end of this video, you should have a better understanding of EstateGuru's plans to recover the debt, and we'll also give you insights into when you should expect your money back. Just a quick disclaimer before we start this video, as any other content on P2P Empire is not sponsored, all the costs connected to the production of interviews like these are covered by P2P Empire. So without further ado, welcome to the interview, Mihkel.
Yeah, happy to be here.
All right, so let's kickstart the interview with probably one of the most important questions connected to the performance of EstateGuru's outstanding portfolio. I've noticed that the performance of EstateGuru's portfolio in Germany and Finland has decreased quite a bit over the last few weeks. Currently, as we speak, the default rate for the German portfolio is at 46%, and the default rate for 34%. There's also quite a lot of loans that are being delayed. So perhaps why did the performance decrease so much over the last few weeks?
I think the main reason for that has been that we have now taken this aggressive approach to really speed up the liquidation process and through that actually recover the investor money. Secondly, there's also like a macroeconomical background, which is also influencing the kind of credit behavior for the payment behavior of our customers, and I think these are the main two reasons. But also, as we have a little bit slowed down our origination, for example, in Germany, then if you kind of don't originate more loans and at the same time take a more aggressive approach on putting things on default and solving them, then it also kind of increases the metrics for that period.
Perhaps the investors are wondering why the performance in Germany and Finland is so much worse in comparison to other Baltic countries. The macroeconomic environment is pretty much the same in Europe, in Northern Europe now.
They are, yeah, a little bit market differences. What we also see in our business, for example, in Finland, we see there's still really things happening. Some of the market players have left from the market and gives room for us at the same time. But why much more worse? I think it was somewhat expected when you enter in new markets that after some time, when you basically start from clean sheet, you start giving out loans and you don't kind of know fully. Yes, you take basically the experience of the last markets and you go for the new market, but after some time you still start to learn how the portfolio behaves, and you then can adjust the credit rules according to that. In Baltic, we had actually gone through the similar path. For example, in Latvia, the defaults reached also above like 15% at one point, and after that, the effort and change we made, kind of we have now last year really reduced it down to 8% once more, while Estonia is performing on this below 5% level, and also Lithuania has most of the year been below 5%. But however, still, I think especially levels in Germany is more than what we expected and actually tolerate here, and therefore the extra steps were taken also towards the German market, probably what we're going to talk today as well. So and in Finland, I think even though yes they're high in both in Finland and Germany, we can still look a little bit. They have a little bit different story. So in Germany, we have this 2021 portfolio, the first portfolio, what is now maturing, and we see the kind of behavior of the portfolio. But in Finland, it is a little bit longer where we have been there, and kind of this is affected mainly by two bigger loans, which we basically gave out before they had even a local team in place in Finland, and as we haven't kind of originated so high volumes, then this also affecting the metrics there. We believe that we have now done the right adjustment in Finland also, and then the loans what we are giving out today are really different what it used to be like 2 years ago.
I remember when we met in EstateGuru headquarters last spring. I also had a talk with Kaspar Kajuve, who is kind of in charge of the risk management. And we talked a little bit about the German portfolio back then, which is right now it's probably like 7 or 8 months ago. And some issues have been known back then. And he told me that you are already taking steps to ensure the improvement of the portfolio quality. However, since then, of course, it's now 7 months later. It seems like the portfolio quality in Germany has deteriorated even more. Back then, I also had the impression that the risk management principles that you kind of got from the Baltics are also being applied in other countries to a certain extent, and you follow certain processes. So why is the portfolio just like so bad in comparison to, let's say, more established markets when you have the same kind of risk management approach? Perhaps you don't have the same. Maybe you can elaborate a little bit more on that.
Still, the markets kind of are a little bit different. What I've learned also, we have actually already, I think this is how Kaspar also, we have adjusted also our rules, and when compared already like last year, 2022, we heavily reduced also the origination volumes to be more conservative. So 2021, we went with the strategy at that time was really on growth orientation, and we did a quite big portfolio at that time. And then when we started to see the first signs of that something late are emerging, all of that, we kind of really adjusted also and went down with the origination. So, but there are also like other differences. For example, when you start the liquidation process or the loan goes to default, for example, in Baltic, there's basically 2 months of this voluntary payment period when the borrower can argue and tell that, okay, please don't send it to auction. But in Germany, for example, it's much more longer. It's 6 months. So even if you kind of put it in default, start the process, it takes like basically 6 months before you can go to auction. So this means that it takes so much longer than you can start actually sell these assets and recover. So before the numbers start to go down, they need to first go up. So yeah, this is the situation.
You mentioned that you have a growth strategy in Germany, perhaps originating too many loans in a short time period. One of our members, one of our community members, was wondering why a lot of loans in Germany were granted to a limited number of borrowers. Do you see it the same way? And if so, perhaps you can elaborate on that.
When you start also entering new markets, you don't have like you are building the portfolio and the customer segments. In Baltic, we have now like already over I think 70% in Estonia, for example, is returning customers whom we have like working for many years, and top of that you then add new customers and you take kind of the market. When you enter a new market, you still get early access to some of the customers. What is also different in Germany is that compared to the Baltics or even in Finland, I think we have the Baltic, you have Finland, and then Germany, the amounts are much higher as well. So through that you already have a higher. So what is considered a small loan in Estonia is or let's say even a medium-sized loan in Estonia is a kind of small loan in Germany. So this also a little bit changes the picture. So fewer customers, but also higher amounts is something which kind of drives that.
Obviously, right now you have a lot of loans in Germany and also in Finland that are delayed. Should investors expect an increase in the default rate in the upcoming weeks?
Yes, this might, and mainly for two reasons. I think, first of all, what we already mentioned is macroeconomic factors. We see kind of delays in real estate, especially on this longer sales period. So this might mean that the first projected kind of ending dates will take longer, and maybe some of the cases don't go as expected due to that. But also affected by the same what I said before, that I have now taken a really conservative approach in Finland and Germany, and in Germany we actually have put full stop on new origination, so we're fully focusing at the moment on recoveries. So if we don't originate more, and we still haven't put all of some of the late loans which are still late into the default process, then before it starts to go down, it will probably still a little bit goes up.
To which levels do you think is the German and the Finnish portfolio going to go in terms of default rate?
I think it certainly raises. What is now also starting to affect this is that, as I said, there's a 6 month of waiting when you start before you can start liquidating assets. So we started to take the more aggressive approach in August, and the first loans now reach end of this 6 month period in February. So what starts to happen now is parallelly that there might some of loans still go up to enter into the default process, but some of the things also start to get first recoveries and first solutions. So this is also then starts to bring down default levels at the same time. So, and parallelly we are working in many fronts. So we are also working with local kind of non-performing loan partners who might be interested in purging some of the claims, and we are also trying to find solutions together with some of the borrowers to cooperate, and so that they refinance out or find other solutions. So there's active work on many fronts going on at the moment.
Okay, maybe I will rephrase the question a little bit. So right now we have 32% of delayed loans in Germany, 46% are defaulted. Should we expect that all the delayed loans are going to eventually get into default, basically raising the default rate in Germany to 70%?
I don't think all of them will go, but some part of this still, yes. I think still it could raise above 50 for some period, and then starts to come down the default rates.
For Finnish,
especially as we don't kind of.
Yeah.
Of Finland, I'm not so worried about, because, as I said, the overall portfolio in Finland is relatively small, and we have now there around I think 15 million of defaulted loans, and big part of this is two bigger loans from earlier times, and there's the strategy in place how to get them sold. So, and we have also shown already recoveries in Finland past year as well. I think one of the biggest was in November, 2 million coming back. So there's a kind of ongoing process on solving all of the Finnish cases. And if we continue also originating and parallel doing recoveries, I think the default there in the beginning of the year stays on similar level, and then in the second part of the year starts to come down. And this is also actually the target we set for this year. So for the countries is that for the Baltic we have set that the default should stay below 5%, and we are using the same approach what we did in Latvia, for example, that we set the targets of step by step coming down and reaching this 5% level ultimately at 1 or 2 years time. So there will be also targets for Germany and Finland to bring down the defaults further this year.
Mm-hmm. So you think that, realistically speaking, let's say when we just talk about the German portfolio, that a 5% default rate is something that could be achieved by 2025 or even longer or earlier? What's your prediction on that front?
I think, yeah, you are pretty accurate. So if you run it through that, we now have the most problematic case put into the process is 6 months to kind of get to the auction. Some of them can actually have some solutions or even before that. And then it might take a little bit more time depending on the project. So yes, we see improvements probably already this year. And next year we can stabilize, and if we start again step by step originating new loans, then next year we might get to this 20% level or somewhere like this, and then we can push for even further to get to the normal 5%. This is still, I think, with the defaults. In our business model, we have expected there are some levels of defaults because not all the projects go as expected, and this is not normal. If you try to aim, for example, zero default, then it also you might kind of lose some of the good borrowers and good projects. So it's a kind of the interest and even banking standards to have some levels.
Perhaps a question regarding the loan recoveries. So when you manage to liquidate collateral, you get the money back. Are you going to first repay the loans in early stages, or are you gonna repay the loans in equally across all stages?
In here, we need to kind of treat investors equally. So one stages of loan is still kind of given to one borrower for one loan, and there's one mortgage. So if there are recoveries, then these will be divided proportionally based on the amounts. So, but everyone will get the equal amount. So we don't kind of prefer first or later. So if it's for one loan, then all of the investors will get their part based on how much they have invested.
So for an investor, it really doesn't matter in which stage that the investor invests, because if you return the money proportionally, there's no difference between investing in the first stage versus the 10th stage, right?
Yes. The only difference is maybe that in later stages, you already see the kind of the progress, what it has done. So if it's kind of what we do, if it's a like longer term loan, and we kind of give out new stages, we sometimes also might to have a re-evaluation of the project. For example, you start off with only with land, you have then built to certain stage, and then we in order for you to get the next stage, we ask for a re-evaluation, and you already have not only anymore the land, but something extra. So these are it gets more and more kind of liquid and with a higher value.
Obviously, investors who are suffering from a lot of defaulted loans, they have a bit more critical opinion of EstateGuru's operations these days. And some investors report that it seems like the auction dates for certain loans are being systematically postponed, which increases significantly the frustration and decreases the liquidity of investors' assets. Would you say that there have been projects where the auction dates have been postponed longer than expected?
When the auction date is agreed and kind of set in motion, then we can't kind of change it anymore. Then it's this is organized also by the entities or authorities who are legally can do it. So it is kind of set. But when when the auction doesn't kind of realize, nobody makes any bids, then yes, new auction date is set, and this might maybe in some cases seem that okay, why it has postponed, if I get the question correctly. So then we reconsider the price and then set out the new auction date. For example, there's a certain procedure what you go through in, for example, in Estonia or in other Baltic countries, that how this process runs. There's a kind of, you set the date, then there's a registration time, then you have a bidding time, and the one who bids then kind of wins, and then there's you need to provide the money and all of that. But so it is a kind of quite the transparent and concrete procedures how this goes.
All right, let's talk about the return for investors. Obviously, when a loan is defaulted, investors will not receive the interest in the next couple of months. Should they still expect EstateGuru to recover their loan, the full principal and accrued interest, or are the chances rather low?
Yeah, what I want to a little bit maybe emphasize is that default as such is not kind of bad at all in a way. That what the default is. Default is that the project basically doesn't end, or how there was a ending strategy doesn't kind of fulfill, and we need to start a kind of official process of then selling the collateral. Downside of this is that yes, that probably if it goes as expected, you also get kind of the business person or the company also gets a full profit out of how he expected. But if it kind of defaults, then there's also longer time to solve all of this, and so the money is not received back for the investors. But what kind of, if you give out business loans, for example, and business goes bankrupt, you kind of don't have any assets behind them, then you might lose all of them. But what is different in our case, we always set up the first rank 98% mortgage, which means that even though if the project doesn't happen, we can then liquidate. Yes, it takes time. So the historic data shows that in average we have been able to recover them with 12 months time, and also been able to recover not only the principal but also get something extra. So even if loan goes default, then actually we continue acquiring the interest and add actually the penalty interest to that amount. So this is basically what we can legally then take and then distribute to the investors. What might change this is that if you need to kind of sell the property with a lower price, which is, for example, the principal plus the interest accrued, then yes, then we can't kind of pay all of what we went out. But historically, again, the numbers show that it has taken 12 months, and the average return in the end for the investors has been 9 to 10%. Yes, in some cases it's only 2%. Some cases we have been able to do even kind of more than initially we went out. Yes, there's also influence of this market situation. If the values start to go down, it also influences a little bit how much buffer you have. But again, we have been conservative. The average loan to value is 60%, and in Germany I think it was even lower, the average. So this means that there's a buffer in, even if kind of overall real estate prices go down, then our loans are quite short term. So it's not fixed for 5 or 10 years. It's like in average like 1 year. So we can also adjust our kind of new loans according to that, and there might not be so big kind of changes on the prices of the property. So yes, with all of the investments, and this we say also investment, our investors, that you might not get everything back, but having this collateral, having this increases the kind of the likelihood of actually not only getting the principal but also getting extra returns. So, and we have actually seen that what is interesting now is that some of the investors have now chosen strategy going into the secondary market and buying these discounted loans. So if you basically don't want to wait as long as the liquidation process takes time, you can go and sell with the discounts on the secondary markets, and there are investors out there who then actually chasing these deals and believe that we can recover them and get the money back. So overall, yes, to finish this is maybe maybe one thought here. Let's stay maybe a little bit longer here. So what we can do basically. And this is where we need to also kind of balance. So we could also go out in the market and start basically finding interested parties who might even kind of want to buy with some discount of these loans and then take these over. But this is where we are kind of need to balance also. So yes, this will mean that we can sell these properties much faster, but will bring in the kind of loss for the investors, and we want to still kind of balance in a way that we kind of maximize the returns for the investors. So therefore we have been choosing the path that we try to go through the liquidation process, auctions, and get as much return for the investors as possible in these deals. And therefore also that's I think one of the reasons why we have so low loss rate on capital. So it's I think 40,000 in total what we have kind of had to written off currently in the case we have recovered. But yeah, this comes with the price, and the price is the time. It takes longer. And again, this doesn't guarantee that these metrics will continue to be in different market situation as it has been this far.
Yeah. That would be my follow-up question. You mentioned historically 9% yield, 10-month recovery of the
8 to 10, yes.
Yeah, but right now we are in
there
different
again,
market conditions, right?
Yes. There are loans which kind of have been recovered in 2 months' time. There has been loans which the longest I think was over 3 years, and it was one of Estonian cases where we went through in many legal disputes through courts, but eventually we will still be able to recover with even some revenues for the investors.
Like you mentioned, 8 to 10 months, something like that was the average. However, now Germany is relatively new market for you guys. Historical data will probably not apply. And a lot of investors are coming from Germany and are concerned. So they should probably expect a recovery date of, let's say, 2 years. Is this something that's realistic?
I think what we have already discussed today, then yeah, definitely I see that it might be longer. It's already starting with the fact that the first auction period will take much more longer time. So instead of 1 or 2 months, you have already 6 months addition to that. So yes, so I would say like maybe the average. Okay, then it's about predicting. What I can predict is the average might be longer. What will it be fully? This will time show. But we will do our best effort to still recover them as quickly as possible with the best outcome for the investors.
Perhaps just a side question here. You mentioned that you're rather conservative with LTV. Germany is a bit of like more specific country. Last year has been a lot of some investors criticized the evaluation reports, that they are not the highest quality standards. How do you see the situation right now? Do you already notice that perhaps the prices that are being offered now in those auctions are just too low in comparison to what you have expected back 2 years ago when you first evaluated the projects?
We have done several things again here as well. So we still at that point try to find the best evaluators on the market to evaluate the things. And also what we have done and followed also in Germany is that when we enter in markets, we kind of start off by doing like double valuations even. And recent when we saw now in summer the rates and all of these increasing, and we had actually talks with some institutional investors who looked at our portfolio, not only the Baltic but also mainly even Germany. We run through additional forensic kind of analysis of our portfolio. So, and it actually didn't show any kind of let's say mistakes at that point. So, and we still see that some of the loans which are now in final phases of being kind of solved, that there's still room for not only getting the principal but getting something extra back. So I know it's a kind of not a full concrete, but I think our head of risk also could provide even more insights into this specific topic.
Obviously, recovering debt comes at a cost for EstateGuru. You need to hire more people, right? It takes a long time. The process is quite complex. I can imagine you're charging some fees for the borrowers, or there must be somehow to cover those costs. But also for investors who kind of are stuck with those loans and who lacked liquidity that was previously advertised. Do you, so perhaps you can just let us know how do you fund the debt recovery, and if you charge any extra fees to borrowers, which may be deducted from the liquidation value. Are any of those fees being forwarded to investors?
All of this is also defined what we can do and what we can't do in our user terms. So when the loan goes to default, or even late actually, when the loan goes default, we start adding extra penalties for the borrowers, and this goes directly to the investors as well when this money is paid. In late penalties, EstateGuru also takes a proportional part of that, because I also see that it's kind of logical in a way, because we have a separate debt team working on, and operational team working on day-to-day basis to really call them, to keep the customer service up, and then to get them paying again. And when loan goes to default, then yes, in the beginning we are covering all the legal costs from our side, from our own operational cost, and once these cases will get solved, there's a possibility for us to take also part of the recovered fees to cover our cost to do that. But at the same time, we also start off actually giving the fees also to the investors. So in best case scenario, if the loan gets solved and we are able to sell this in the maximum value, then investors will get all of their interest plus all of the penalty fees, and also EstateGuru will get the cover for the legal costs we did. So this is how we have set it up.
So first line of payment are always the investors, and then EstateGuru?
We prefer investors in these cases, yes.
Okay. All right. So investors don't have. Yeah, you wanted to elaborate on that?
So, and what I want to emphasize, so we are in a same boat with investors. So if we kind of get a principal loss in, then it also affects us because we have done all of the effort to really recover these, and then we kind of are also basically not getting this back, and are in the same boat with investors.
Yeah, of course. Not just financial damage, but reputational as well, right? I mean, EstateGuru
Of
has
course.
had a quite a good track record past years, now facing quite big challenges. So it's also in your interest to do good on investors, right?
hmm Yeah,
Uh,
this is the main thing. If investors kind of don't believe in our quality, then they can walk away. And our main role is to show this good quality, and that we can actually provide good products, which I believe we do. That we can then, even if some disturbance happen with these loans, they don't go as expected, that we can help them to recover this stuff, which have also shown historically. And we have now, yes, in challenges in let's say mainly in Germany, partly also in Finland. But I have said always to my team, we can communicate out this stuff, that what we're going to do, and that we take it really seriously, which we do. But in the end, we can only show by actions. That we are really doing it. So this is the main principle, that we always want to show by actions that we are really actually. And then everyone can, yes, maybe sometimes say, but hold, can you cover? I only maybe invest in Baltic at the moment. I'm not going to do any investments in Germany. But by actions, we want to also convince that, yes, we got this, and we can handle all of these situations.
All right. As investors don't have as much insights into the debt collection procedures right now, do you see any defaulted loans right now where you face like extraordinary challenges where you see, okay, we will not be able to recover the principal?
There are some more critical loans, but I have also reviewed strategies which our risk team is working on. And they have a high belief that they can still turn these things around. So too early to say that. And also we need to consider the macroeconomic changes. If there's something really heavy happening on the markets, on the values, then definitely this is also going to a little bit affect that. But we continue to provide these updates on portfolio updates on monthly basis, and then on specifically also on loans. So yes, currently I see that we don't have any such loans coming up in upcoming months, but things can change if the diets don't happen as expected.
From those critical loans, if you would put a percentage on them, how many critical loans would you say from those 100% defaulted loans, how many of those are critical, let's say, in Germany, if you can give me a number?
It was actually in the end quite, I think, I don't want to give a wrong number. I remember like 2 to 5%, but I think it was on German loans, something like this.
2 to 5% from the defaulted loans, right? Not from the
But we
entire outstanding portfolio.
can, yes, from the problematic ones. But this is where, again, maybe we can do a recheck from risk side to give a precise number. Otherwise, we'll be telling a little bit misleading info, which I don't want to do.
Let's continue with the topic of investors. Obviously, you have the automated strategies. One of the strategies is called the conservative strategies. conservative strategy. Some investors they reached out to P2P Emperor and they kind of pointed out that the performance of their loans, even though they are using the conservative strategy, is quite poor. What would you tell them?
I will tell that conservative strategy doesn't guarantee that all loans we pick there will go as planned. And this is where we also, it's kind of a what we have kind of set up at that time, but this is also where we are improving as markets evolve, and all the time we have also, I think what is most widely used is that all of the investors can set up their own strategy as well, and then adjust it accordingly. But this, even the conservative and the balanced strategy will be kind of time to time reviewed, and I think we are soon actually again launching a new updated version for these portfolios as well.
Some investors are also concerned about the ability to withdraw their funds. From my understanding, you cooperate with payment provider Lemonway. All the funds are segregated, so it should not be an issue to withdraw any available funds from the platform. Can you confirm that?
Yeah, EstateGuru is not a payment provider. We're not also holding the money for that, and this comes also from regulation requirement that we're using this third-party service, Lemonway, who is kind of facilitating our payments, and they are using the correspondent bank of BNP Paribas in France. So in the end, actually, all the money is kept there, and our company has its own accounts on other banks. So this money are separated, and so even though if something happens to EstateGuru as a company, then investor money stays on different accounts. So, but the only things what can affect is, and this comes again from these regulations, is that I don't know if there's some AML or KYC analysis going on, then the third party might kind of put some stop on or to finish these investigations. And this is what I can think of. The only part when then withdrawals are stopped.
The regulation that you're referring to, is it Estonian regulation?
No, we have been locally regulated in Lithuania and also in Finland. Estonia didn't have a local regulation for this crowdfunding, but we have also, as you remember, then 2021 November, European Commission kind of approved crowdfunding regulation, pan-European regulation. Throughout the year, companies now had time to apply for this. We have done as well, and hope to get our pan-European license soon. So this is what it allows us to. Then we don't need to kind of locally anymore get regulated, but can get this pan-European license and then passport it out to all of our jurisdictions where we operate.
The request to have segregated bank accounts comes from the Lithuanian regulation right now, or is it going to be also included in the rules implemented
both sides
by the European? Both.
I'd say both, yes.
All right, let's move on to the next chapter of the interview, and that covers transparency. So it's currently mid-January when I was preparing this interview. Just at the beginning of this week, I could not see the loan performance update from December yet. Typically, you release it like up to 2 months later on the blog. Why don't you provide more updated information on the performance of your outstanding portfolio given the current circumstances and the rapidly changing environment?
Yes, October one was published in second part of December. The December one, together with the annual summary, will come actually next week out. do it quicker. Yes, I understand the need for that. We try to do it better, but there's also practical reasons. So these people who also write these reports at the same time need to execute on making these things happen. What we just today discussed as well. So it's about balancing between the communication and actually also executing and improving the stuff on portfolio wise. So but I will take this feedback with myself to the team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think especially in challenging times, you have a lot of investors affected by the default rate, and just the demand for transparency is so much higher than in times when everything works as expected, right? Because investors have expectations towards
Of course.
EstateGuru, and if those expectations are not met, frustration arises, which just creates more questions and certain emotions connected to investments on EstateGuru. Perhaps another question, we talked about it a little bit, but some investors don't appreciate the update for the project page where you kind of currently list the project updates according to a timeline. It feels for some investors like those messages are being kind of automated and don't provide as much value in comparison to your previous systems where more detailed updates were shared with investors. Do you plan to revert or improve on this feature?
Yeah, this was done in order to improve, and I still see it improvement. So first, it's now visually more clear and understandable what has been done and what are the actions, but also easier to track how things are evolving. But I also agree that this can be improved further, and this is something we're doing. So our product team, together with our investor relationship, is working on that. And next batches of improvements will also come during Q1 of this year, and it will be then kind of updated with our product update email at what we can expect. But some of the glimpses is that we're going to add there the more visually also understandable the kind of proof of work what has been done to show that okay this action has been done, not just only like that email sent, but also that this action was sent, and also more precise kind of indications about recovery actions and all of that. So yes, it's something I see as an improvement, but also where we can be even more improving further. So it's even more like valuable for the investors to follow.
Mm-hmm. I can also give you some feedback from the community. One of the investors reached out and he mentioned his experience where one of the defaulted loans was 200 days delayed. And then he got the information on the project timeline that you're sending a warning letter or emails to the borrowers. And that obviously kind of evoked the thought that, wow, after 200 days, EstateGuru is just sending emails and warning letters. It just feels like the recovery procedures are a bit too soft given the current circumstances. I understand that the complexity of debt recovery, but perhaps you could share additional details for investors who invested in those loans, to ensure them that enough tasks are being done to recover their money.
Yeah, there's I would say two parallel streams. There's a kind of all the constant kind of work going on. It starts off with when the loans get late, we start off with automatic notifications to the borrowers. There's processes where actually we start working, we're constantly monitoring the portfolio as well, kind of calling to the clients how it's going on, and kind of become even more frequent when the loans start to end. Then our OPS operations team takes over and starts that, are we able to, what is our plan, are we going? And this is usually the case when we also understand if the loan might need prolongations to finish it or refinance to even have more time. But also this is where we can also decide that, okay, this seems that these loans start to go default. If loans go late, then yes, we start off with reminders, and then step by step start to add more kind of this kind of pressure on to get this solved. But each case is also a little bit different. So when discussing, we also understand, is the borrower cooperative, what we can expect, or maybe there's a clear reasons why this has happened, and maybe it just needs a little bit more time to, I don't know, it's already, everything is ready and we need to kind of, last sales are happening and we can recover like this. But at the same time, if another angle could be that borrower is not cooperative, not kind of picking up the phone or something like this, then we might already send out termination as quickly as possible and then set up the other procedures. So there's a kind of way of doing it, and what we're going to do like on everyday basis and all of the loans, and then there's a kind of, based on these actions, we get the indication how to go forward with each loan separately, and then this workout strategy, especially if the loan goes to default, there will be created a separate workout strategy for all of the loans. So how we tackle these loans and try to get the recoveries.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's move on to the last chapter of the interview, which will cover some of the questions related to the operations of EstateGuru. I just read your letter to the community, which you sent out 2 days ago, which I found was quite well balanced. But one of the points that you mentioned was that you are going to investigate some of the possible internal violations of your German team from 2020 2021. Can you perhaps elaborate a bit more what you mean by that?
Yeah, this we wanted to mention out to bring it out, and but today I can't kind of elaborate it more. We need to finish these investigations, and then we can comment about more. But at the same time, now we have put the info out, and I can be sure that you will hold me accountable of delivering more news on that at one point.
So are those violations related to the evaluations of reports, or more towards the due diligence on borrowers, or perhaps like can you just give me any hints since you have already published it on Monday?
Mm-hmm. It's more connected to some of the kind of processes what we set out, and how these were done, and what effect it had also on some of the other actions. So, but again, we need to get the full picture, and then I can elaborate more.
So investors should expect some kind of statement from your side after the investigation is over to clarify what has happened.
Yes, but what I want to emphasize is, again, what I said earlier in the interview, is that we have now done last year again quite deep forensic analysis of our portfolio, gone through all of the variations, like I said, also went through again the credit decisions at that time, and we are quite confident of the situation where we are, and we have built out a specific strategy for each loan to be solved, and we are also quite confident of our values in most of the cases. So yes, this has been done separately.
like we talked before, the debt collection obviously takes a lot of resources. So I was wondering how many people work in the debt collection department now at EstateGuru in comparison to last year.
We have actually increased a little bit. So now we have 2 dedicated default lawyers and 3 credit committee members who help out with workouts. So this is an internal team. Addition to that, there's a first line of defense in contact with the clients is the loan managers, and also then the operational specialists who also work with the first part of the cases with late and also the ending of the loans. And parallel, we have set up the kind of the local partners in each country for liquidation partner wise, but also as local lawyers to consult us with the cases. So it's a kind of quite wide network. So the local HQ team is more of kind of coordinating all of activities together with local partners and operations.
Do you have also some in-house German debt collectors in your team who are specifically dealing with the issues in Germany?
Not as a separate, but still Germany is one of the highest priorities, both for me and the management, but also our board and risk committee. So this is constantly monitored and reported back to me and to the board that how the progress is going on, and there's a separate team allocated to really work on. Week to week, there's a kind of ongoing operational calls on seeing the status, and this is what we take really seriously.
What is the current situation with the loan manager or the country manager in Germany? It seems like when there is someone new, it's been announced, but then when the person kind of is no longer in the picture, it kind of goes under the radar, at least in my that's my impression. But who is currently managing the German market? I know you stopped originations there for a little bit, but who is in charge now?
When we took the decision that we focus on recoveries and show the improvements there, then it also kind of showed that we're not going to do any new originations for a certain time, and this meant a little bit restructuring of the team. Unfortunately, our previous country manager Björn, who joined beginning of last year, got a really attractive offer to one of the German banks. He helped to also transform throughout the year already from what we had in 2021 into the new setup. And but currently, looking at the challenges what we had in Germany and the focus what we have, we decided that we go for internally for the people who have been here and helping to solve the things and has a really long experience in solving cases. So one of our founders and the previous group risk officer is now in the management of a German business over viewing the actions, but also supported by the one of country managers from other operations, and we still have the kind of local team on day-to-day in place working with our customers. So we have the loan manager and also the investor relationship person dedicated for that market. So yes, this is the current setup what we have for that, and I see that this is also sufficient and needed to do all of the actions what needs to be done in order to get the result out of this market. And later on, probably when we again step by step, Germany will remain an important market for us, and I still also see in long term a big potential for German market. So once we have shown by actions and bring down the kind of defaults in Germany, then step by step we have already kind of built up new strategy also for the loan origination. It will be a little bit different segment, and at one point during already this year we try to test out and bring also something new on the market. But to do that, there's many other parts of the equation what we need to solve first, and then when we are kind of convinced or to go and start to originate once more. And this also means that then we step by step start to strengthen the team on other areas as well.
What's the situation in Finland right now? I noticed there's been also some change in management. What's the current setup?
Leaving the defaults apart, I think Finland is kind of it's now well established in operationally. We have a good team in place, and we strengthened it even further with our previous country manager Matti. He was really a great guy to set it all up. He also had a legal background, also crowdfunding background, so he helped to set it all up. And in cooperation with the team and him, and we decided that okay, now we need to take next step in Finland as well. And from last quarter of last year, we then onboarded Tero as our new country manager there. He has like over 20 years of real estate experience in different parts of that, and we already see like and also the effort of the team that there's a good stabilization of origination in the market in last quarter, and they really actively also work on solutions on this portfolio. So I think taken all into consideration, I still see and have a big hopes on Finland for that as well, to provide this solid track record for 2023.
Some investors might think that you have originated loans too aggressively in new markets in Germany, etc. So I was wondering if the country managers, if they are compensated by some kind of commissions based on loan volumes, etc. If you can give me any insights into that.
I can't go to full details, but what I can say is that they mainly have the base salary part of the remuneration, but also part of the remuneration is he has this bonus part, but the bonus part is in mixed in order to kind of bring out the best results from the operation. So it's combination of quality, kind of the same portfolio quality targets there. It's a part of sustainability. They are kind of that the operation is to be profitable and sustainable, and also yes, there's a some part of office sales, but still for them the biggest part comes from the stability and from the base side. And this is always again on constant review as we kind of go from year to year.
Who was the kind of like the last line of defense when it came to the audit of the evaluation reports in Germany and Finland? Was it the internal risk team or the credit committee, or who gave the green light for the loans to be listed on the platform in the end?
So how we usually do is that the first line is our loan manager who looking through and basically collect all the info. Then it also goes to the credit committee who then gives the final confirmation. But parallelly, we have also the independent kind of credit risk committee, which is also reviewing the performance of our not only the credit part, but also the operational risk, IML, all of that parts. And as said, we have been doing in new markets also the second reviews or second valuations. So we order separate valuations, and this also has been also asked by usually the credit committee.
All right. Perhaps another question in regards to the operation and default rate. How much do you think EstateGuru can handle in terms of default rates? Of course, I can assume that the higher the default rate, the more costs are coming to EstateGuru, which obviously has also negative impact on the business model of the platform. We talked a bit earlier that you are expecting the default rate to go up in the near future due to the delays in Germany and Finland. How much do you think EstateGuru can handle?
So definitely true. I think what we, and this little bit also that want people to think is that and now I see already difference also that in the thinking that when the defaults start to go up in Germany, we kind of put all together in one basket and told that okay, all of EstateGuru loans are kind of now defaults are raising, and this is also because people really believe in German market, and we also believe that this should be kind of now more well-established market and all of that, and many investments went in, but when looking also that when separating and looking all of the markets separately, then the picture is different. So in Baltics, for example, where we have been the longest, we have a really good performance of our quality, and then we still see that the investors have a big appetite. And this is correlated, yes, with also with the levels of default. And in Latvia, there was a little bit kind of maybe a year back, wasn't so eager to investors to go in, but now again, as we have already solid track record and showing the increase of portfolio quality, and then actually investors go. So looking this different, and at the same time we see like today institutional investors are looking for Finnish market, they are still looking for the German market. So yes, I think the business model is really needed for different times. I still believe that real estate is asset what is understood and loved in many parts of the world, and really provides you this protection in even on this more kind of turbulent macroeconomical times. Yes, we might expect a little bit more of delays in payments, and in general, like it takes longer. Maybe not all of projects go as expected, but what showed also the, let's say, 2008 crisis is that yes, in some cases you might even wait longer to get recoveries, but in the end, if you have a good asset in good location, then you can actually come out of this and also get returns out of that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Given the current circumstances and the rising default rate, I was wondering what's the ratio between newly attracted capital and the withdrawals from EstateGuru in January? Is it would you say it's equal, or are there more withdrawals than new capital, or is it the opposite?
We are in positive side. Yes, there has been overall maybe drop in deposits compared to the beginning, for example, last year. But again, in beginning of last year, the whole market operated differently. How much money went into the investments into startups, into stocks, into crypto. So now we have a really different market situation where the high inflation, high utility costs, Euribor is raising, so it affects people's kind of savings even. So, but at the same time, it's not only about deposits. When I think about that. What is the so if we only compare the deposit minus withdrawals, we are still on a cash positive side, but we need to actually consider the whole money inflow. So in our case, it's also the repayments. So historically, when kind of money came back to the platform, then around 90% was reinvested. So it kind of indicates that the return was kind of put on hold or taken away, but everything else was reinvested. And now it has a little bit maybe dropped. I would say around 80% is reinvested, but it's still quite high number. So yes, overall investment levels are and you see also in the results on lower compared to the middle of or beginning of the last year. But I would say this is kind of combination of what is happening on the market, but yeah, also affecting that people don't go so eagerly on German market, but they continue investing in other markets in our platform. So this is like, and again, this is also big thanks to everyone, but also where we need to deliver, where we need to show the results and show by actions that we are solving these things, and hopefully then together we can at one point again start to conquer the German market with origination and loans and the investment opportunities.
First, just the last question, also connected to the default rate. Do you see any lower interest from institutional investors these times, as the default rate has been increasing in the last weeks?
Institutional, if it's connected to our platform, last year we were also actually able to onboard new institutional investors. There are many talks going on specific markets. I mentioned about Finnish and also some of the due diligence going on towards Germany, but we also kind of tried to direct some of the institution flows to Baltic to support the kind of this area. So overall, it has remained on a similar levels as earlier. Around 10% of the investments today comes from institutional, and in a way, no big changes, I think, on the behavior of institutions at the moment. Maybe what has changed is a little bit the onboarding of new has, for especially for the bigger lines, has prolonged because for them as well, they are more cautious on their investments, and therefore it takes much more longer. But at the same time, we see also appetite from these smaller family offices and high net worths who are now looking like, okay, what product it is and how can I benefit from it.
But probably it's not for current investors, but for new investors, it's probably now a better time to start with EstateGuru than it was last year, I assume, given the circumstances that hopefully have adjusted the credit scoring enough to ensure better performance in the upcoming months from newly listed loans, right?
From investment perspective, I think it's always a good time to start, not to keep the money somewhere. Yeah, we shouldn't put all the money into one place, into one platform, in one segment. But I believe that even if we take only EstateGuru, then with a good diversification between different projects and different countries, and if we can deliver, then it's can still provide you really stable kind of cash flows. And yes, some loans will take longer time to and are not coming back on when you maybe expected. But if you have a high diversification, then it means that you don't anymore see it. And if you have already longer time portfolio, then it's still kind of every month you have some recoveries. Every month you have coming from the performing portfolio, and so in the end, we need to look the final metrics of what is a percent of return on recoveries, what is a percent of return on new loans, and how long it takes. So it's about building the portfolios and at the same time also diversifying the risks. So everyone needs to make their own dedicated decisions.
All right, Mihkel, thank you very much for all the insights. I think there is a lot of valuable information for the community. I think you have a challenging year ahead. I hope to see some improvements in the aspect of transparency, as we talked previously. And of course, I would like to see a positive trend in the default rates, as we talked, possibly something that we won't be expecting in the coming weeks. But I hope at least that mid 2023 or in the second half of the year that investors can finally see some progress and some first recoveries, which because I think EstateGuru has quite an interesting business model also for me as an investor. The aspect of investing in mortgage-backed loans on a regulated platform is quite attractive in my opinion, but of course it comes with challenges. Not just macroeconomic challenges, but investors have certain expectations, and EstateGuru has to deliver on those. So thanks again for all the insights. I wish you good luck for this year. For investors who would like to be updated about the latest developments on EstateGuru, I suggest you visit our newsfeed, but also keep an eye on EstateGuru's statistics page, which is being updated every day. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.